Welcome to TechBench TV. My name is Brian and I'm the director of TechBench and TechBench.com, and today I'm going to tell you how it all started, even though I was advised not to. Strongly advised not to.
When did you enter the mobile industry?
I entered the mobile industry in 2006, shortly after I was released from a juvenile facility when I was 18 years old.
So then what did your resume look like at 18?
I didn't have a resume at 18. It was my second job after 3 months of telemarketing experience.
So then how did your interview go? Did you tell them about your background? Did they know about your background?
So the general manager actually made an exception for me because a resume was a requirement for the interview. He literally handed me an application, which was a piece of paper. I sat at the table. This was in the mall, so I was in the food court. I literally wrote down my name and my phone number. He came over, sat down, and told me to stop. He asked me about my experience. I told him that I worked at a telemarketing place. He asked me what I sold. I actually didn't sell anything. It was donations for stickers, I guess, because we gave out decals to people who would donate. When he kept prying, what else did you sell? Have you ever sold anything? Because we all have experience selling things, lemonade, whatever. He kept prying, and then that's when I went into my background a little bit, and he was so persistent. And what did I sell? And literally the only thing that I sold at that point was drugs. So I told him crack, and he laughed. About 2 weeks later, he gave me a call, and he told me, unfortunately, you didn't get the job. And, good luck selling stickers or crack or whatever it is you sell. And then he said, I'm just fucking with you. Gave me the job, and I started that Wednesday selling phones. I worked for an indirect dealer for Alltel Wireless. And like most indirect dealers, they're either bought, sold, or they go out of business. I knew I needed something corporate. I had about a year of experience and some college on my resume, and that was enough to get my foot in the door. And this is where it all started. Best Buy 1161, Steelyard Commons. I accepted a part-time position in the mobile department just to get my foot in the door. It wasn't hard to predict trends that the mobile industry was taking over. This is obvious now by the departments removed from the big blue boxes. Just in case you were wondering what happened to departments like digital imaging, iPods, MP3s, etc. At one point in time, every feature on your phone was its own device. Even though I dropped out, accounting was my major, and looking at scorecards and P&Ls were like reading stories to me. So I got to work looking for solutions to problems the store was facing. Mobile needed to sell mobile broadband, which is known as hotspot now. Customers needed to connect their laptops to the internet on the go. Tablets weren't even a thing yet. I think Samsung just started marketing the Galaxy tablet before Apple, without a whisper, announced the first iPad and created frenzy over it. Mobile also struggled selling Geek Squad service plans that brought in big residuals. Both was trending not even 15%. So I took the initiative to integrate departments. Since all three had separate management structures and not much communication established between them, I became the ambassador of consumer electronics. They even created a position just for me. They called it a connection expert. They promoted me a couple times to one leadership position after another, but that was only within the box. My aspiration was corporate, but that was soon shattered by skepticism. The district couldn't really understand how a kid like me could lead the company in every category the rest of the company was struggling with. I guess it was easy to assume I was doing something wrong rather than blaming an entire Fortune 500 company and all of its officers and associates. And that's where I started to develop the tech bench concept. And these are the numbers that raise suspicion instead of recognition. There I am right there, Brian Peterka. PSP unit ratio, 33, 28, 26, 33%. And there I am, 59.81%, almost 60%. And that was with $51,553 in notional margin, which is also gross profit. It's not revenue. And that was in a small revenue store. These are district numbers. This was the entire district. And there I am. Number 5, 51,553 with a 60% attachment rate. I subordinately went wherever the company was going, which was standalone mobile stores in the mall. Give me a second while I laugh that off. I guess somebody in the market research department wasn't informed that mall sales were trending on a consistent decline. I trained a new mobile team to replace me. It was time for me to spread my wings, so I flew to DC to see where the company was going. Throughout the country, every store wanted to meet the kid who sold 100 broadband cards in a month and averaged a 60% service attachment ratio. It was this Best Buy inside this super secret location where you're not even allowed to take photos past the lobby that helped me draw the map for TechBench. I've been known to break the rules a little bit. But Geek Squad and mobile phones in one little box operating collectively together, I was young, I was fearless, and eventually I was fired. I'm not going to bore you with the corporate politics, but it had nothing to do with me verbally authorizing a transaction to match an offer Verizon had. It couldn't be that because that was company policy. But if I mentioned bias, I'd only be assuming things. When I left Best Buy, I came to the realization that if I can make a company that big, that much money, I can run a small business profitably. And that's what I set out to do. The thing is, I was living paycheck to paycheck. Even though they paid me well, I was only one paycheck away from being broke. So I went back to the only way I knew how to make a lot of money fast. I had a familiar comfort with the corner. After all, this is where my experience with sales all started. Crack was still crack, but it was the beginning of an epidemic that literally unfolded right in my hand. I had a vision on a one-way street right off the highway. I seen right through the boarded doors. I was going to call it the Right Choice Wireless Connection and tell people to get connected here, but the trap was right next door. And to be honest, it was more lucrative, and I don't think I ever plan to stop. I was arrested and indicted on a total of 26 counts for trafficking crack cocaine and heroin. Since I refused to cooperate or, compromise other people's situations because I fucked up, I served the next 5 years in prison. I was sent to a close max facility with restricted movement that became more and more restricted the more time that passed by. My body was trapped behind razor wire, steel, and bricks. But my mind wasn't even in prison. My mind wasn't even in the present moment. It was 5 and 10 years into the future. I spent every minute of every single day building, brainstorming, and visualizing every single thing that I plan to accomplish. I wrote the business plan For tech bench, by hand, with very limited resources. I utilize every single resource within my reach. Here's an interesting fact. The plan that I'm holding in my hand was considered contraband. I had no right to free enterprise. I was incarcerated. When I came home to fucking nothing except for documentation of all my thoughts for the last 5 years. Here we are, 9 years later, doing everything that people said that I couldn't do. Because I spent 5 years conceptualizing every single moment. So everything that I am doing and everything that I will do, I've already done over and over and over again inside my mind. Stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe so you can tune in to how to start your own tech business.